Last time on this stupid channel.
So as far as the story goes, it's a tie. At least in my opinion.
Grubby Mustard was comparing the story between the original Evangelion series and the rebuild movies. And of course he did a cop-out and tie. Like a bitch. In the beginning of the original series, Shinji is probably one of the most depressing characters I've ever seen in an anime. Now, despite the whole Hedgehog's Dilemma thing, where Shinji doesn't really want to get close to people because he's afraid that either he'll be hurt or he'll hurt other people, he gets friends pretty early on, like around episode 4. Kensuke, Toji, and he even comes around to living with Misato, so it seems like he's trying to be normal, but he's socially awkward. He befriends Rei, who's pretty much just as socially awkward as he is, maybe even more so. And of course he meets Asuka, who's pretty much the exact opposite of him. Like, she's super loud, kind of obnoxious, cocky, and he's absolutely none of those things. And after a certain point, he slowly starts to lose everything. He loses all of his friends, Asuka hates him, he loses the Rei that he spent all the whole series with. So everything obviously has to go bad for him, because of course. And by episode 24, Shinji's kind of just a mess. Asuka's in a coma, the original Rei is gone, his friends have left town, and pretty much the only person that he can actually talk to is Kaoru. And of course Kaoru's actually a fucking angel, so he's gotta die. And of course there's nobody else to kill him, so of course Shinji has to fucking kill him with his own hands. Ava 1's hands. I might be mistaken on this next part, but the first thing we see in the end of Evangelion movie is Shinji just tried to drown himself. I might be jumping to conclusions, but I don't think he was out there just soaking his head. And literally right after that, we get the hospital scene. That's one hell of a way to start a movie. Now, I'm not going to talk about this one very much, but it basically shows how desperate Shinji is for pretty much any kind of human interaction, as fucked up as it may be. Shinji is pretty much a depressed, limp noodle throughout the entire movie. Like, he doesn't really do a whole lot other than he just kind of just sits there. I mean, I don't blame him. He's lost everything, but that's what he is. And at the end of the movie, when he gets to finally talk to his mother, he finally seems happy, I guess, or at least content. I mean, he's content enough to stop the whole human instrumentality thing. So that's pretty much the gist of Shinji's whole character arc in the original series. I mean, it's a lot deeper than that. But if I was to talk about the whole arc, this video would probably be about an hour long, if not more than that. Now, in the first rebuild movie, Shinji's pretty much the exact character that he was at the very beginning of the original anime, so there's not a whole lot of reason to go in depth with his character in the first movie. As I mentioned before, the two scenes that mirror each other from the first and second movie do a pretty good job of showing just how far Shinji comes as a character between the two movies. The first one, he's obviously alone. Second movie, he has friends, and he's happy. And he even seems to have far less problems in this movie than he does any other time in the original series. He even tries to call his dad in one scene, which in the original anime, I don't think he would have ever done. He definitely seems like he wants to actually get to know his father in the rebuild movies. Well, yeah, he did actually call his dad in the original series, but that was because he needed something, not so much that he wanted to actually talk to him. Then the same bad thing happens that it did in the original anime, which causes Shinji to not want to pilot an Eva anymore. That is until the very end of the movie where he sees Rei get eaten by the 10th angel. This causes him to go absolutely fucking apeshit and nearly beat the 10th angel to death until, of course, Unit 1 runs out of energy. I mean, fuck, who charged these fucking robots? It's not your goddamn cell phone, it's a fucking giant robot. Don't worry, because Unit 1 reactivates because, I don't know, I guess Shinji's willpower because he wants to get Rey back so bad, it just reactivates and just completely stomps a fucking mud hole in the 10th Angel. Like, it's a joke. And you know what's really shocking about this is I didn't expect Shinji to get what I like to call protag powers. Now, protag powers are usually only seen in shonen anime. I don't have a problem with them. I mean, sometimes they can be a little bit stupid, but for the most part, it takes the main character being at, like, near death's door, or they're almost defeated by the bad guy or something, but then they gain some new powers that they never had, and they're able to fight their way out of the situation. And sometimes it's even because the power of friendship. This is pretty much the only time Shinji ever gets protag powers, and it's only because he wants to save Rey's life. So yeah, I'm definitely chalking that up as protag powers.
I promise I'll save you, Rey, even if it's the last thing I do!
So Shinji uses this godlike fucking powers to destroy the 10th Angel, save Rey's life, and of course it fucking ends the world. Even when this motherfucker gets this godlike power for literally the last 5 minutes of a movie, he still gets screwed over in the end. Shinji spends pretty much the entire third movie being just as confused as the audience who's watching it is. He freaks out half the time because he doesn't understand why Misato and everybody else hates his ass. He doesn't know why Misato wants to destroy Nerve. He doesn't know why Rey technically isn't the same Rey that he saved at the end of the second movie. He doesn't know why or how he fucked up the world so badly, or why his friends aren't there. He doesn't know why there's a fucking Teeth Canyon. That's a fucking canyon with teeth in it. How'd that happen? So the only person that Shinji can actually trust is Kaworu, and well, you already know that Kaworu doesn't last through the end of this movie. And of course it ends with Shinji being in pretty much the same state of mind that he is at the end of episode 24 in the original series. So if I had to hazard a guess, I'd say Shinji's probably going to be quite similar to how he was in the end of Evangelion in this final rebuild movie whenever it comes out. God knows when it's going to get a legitimate release date. So, which Shinji is the better Shinji? The one that's incredibly depressing, or the one that's not as depressing? Well, if I had to choose personally, I think I like the rebuild Shinji more, just because there's a little bit more variety to his character. But no one cares what I think. So if I take the personal lens off, I believe the original Shinji is a little bit better as far as his character arc goes. I mean, that could be because we haven't seen what happens to Shinji in the last rebuild movie. But because of that, I think I'm going to have to give it to the original Shinji. If the final movie comes out, whenever it fucking does, and I think it actually does Shinji's character a lot better than the original, hell, I'll make a fucking I'll redo this video. I'll make a rebuild of this fucking video, and I'll say that Shinji in the rebuild was better. But for now, I'm gonna go with the original Shinji is better than the rebuild one. I ain't even close to being done with these videos. There's too many damn characters in Evangelion to get through. It's gonna take a while, but I'll finish this shit, I swear.